So I realized that not everybody gets to step outside their back door and get a view like this. With this stay-at-home order still going, I thought it might be nice to give you a little insight into our operation and what we do on our farm. And so here we go. We actually have 30 head of mama cows that are Hereford breeding stock. It's a pretty small beer to those in cattle country, but we are in corn country, so it's a nice size herd for where we're at. This is the field that we winter graze them. It was bean stubble, as you can see, was beans this past year, but we've got some winter hardy cover crop in here, rye and clover. So that's what the cows have been munching on all winter long. Just took them off the other day and put them in the holding pasture. And so from there, they'll go to summer pasture about mid-May. We had a pretty wide variety of cover crops planted in the fall, but the winter hardy stuff is obviously the stuff that the frost and snow doesn't kill. You can see even here we have a little bit of rapeseed coming up that didn't get killed. We had a pretty mild winter, but nice cover crop growth. So I think we have about 60 acres fenced off, and now it's time to take the fence up and get the field ready for planting. As you can see, Zach's a real gentleman. He lets me drive the truck. So we put these fence posts out in the spring and string up the wire. Looks like we got a full roll there. And put up the temporary fence for the cattle for the winter.
It's kind of nice rolling up wire with them bigger posts, you know? Are you keeping up with me? You must go fast.
So we use posts that we call pigtails, and Zach much prefers them over regular fiberglass posts. The only problem that we've had so far is that they might be just a little bit too tall for some of the young calves, but so far hasn't been too much of an issue. We had one get out once, so but they're so much easier to pop in the ground. You can see how nifty it is. Just slide that off, and the way it slides right in there when you go to put them in the wintertime. Pigtails.
I need to figure out a different system.
This was one of our other systems. One of the ones we don't want to go back to. A little bit harder to a little bit harder to unstring, and although it is adjustable for height. The worst part of these posts was putting them in the ground. As you can see, there's no handle, no step. A little bit hard on the hands putting them down. Yeah?
Yeah.
And here was one of our other systems. In the end, we liked the pigtails the best. Your roll's getting a little full there, sir.
Yeah, I know.
We found that the cover crop has a lot of advantages overfeeding hay all winter long. For one thing, it's cheaper for us. We're able to fly it on. It's dual purpose. It also puts nutrients back in the ground after the soybeans, or in the coming year we're going to have seed corn out here. So solves two purposes there, and then it also allows us to leave the cattle out in the open, which is a lot better for their health. We had the calves in a barn this year. Long story short, our hoop barn burnt in the fall, and we had to keep them in the steer barn where we normally feed out animals. And we had a lot of sick calves, so they're just a lot healthier when they're out in the open, out in a field like this. Also, they spread their own manure, so we don't have to pile it up in the barnyard. It's not a big muddy mess. They're just a lot happier, and they gain really well. The mama cows always get pretty fat on this stuff, actually, and that's really great. When we have seed corn out here, we're able to get more growth out of the cover crop, and we get these great big radishes and turnips that the mama cows, they munch down on those like no tomorrow. So there's a lot of reasons why we like putting up this temporary fence and using the field to graze cover crops in the wintertime. And one of the reasons that we're taking the cattle off now, I know there's a lot of feed out here still, is because we need to get this field ready to plant for seed corn. So we're going to strip till it, but before we do that we have to spray the rye and kill it. Otherwise we get really clumpy ground that's no good for planting in. So we have to allow those, I'm slacking on the job here. We have to allow those root clumps to disintegrate a little bit before we strip till. That way we have a real nice seed bed. Houston, we have a problem. Lots of wire, not enough spool.
Saying I have a problem?
You have a problem. Oh, and her name is Hannah. Well, the project is not done yet. Oh wait, much better. Well, join us in the next video where we'll be processing the cattle, and you can meet the red-headed ladies that we do all this work for.